One of the most well-known events in the book of Acts is a story about the eunuch from Ethiopia who has been visiting the temple worshipping during the festival, and to whom Philip the evangelist is sent by the Spirit to teach the Christian gospel. And Philip meets him as described in chapter 8 in the book of Acts. On the way to Gaza, he finds the eunuch reading, and he asks him, as he's invited to join him in his wagon, he asks him what he's reading, and of course he's reading from the book of Isaiah. The eunuch is reading chapter 53, the prophecy about the servant of the Lord, the messianic prophecy, and Philip explains to him how this is fulfilled in Jesus Christ and in his suffering and in his resurrection. Now, I'm sure that the eunuch would have read the context. And as you move from chapter 53 in the book of Isaiah to 56, you will find that the eunuch would have been able to identify himself, in a way, in this prophecy. Because in Isaiah 56, the prophet widens the scope of the message of God. It is not only to the Jews, it is to all people. The temple shall be called a house of petition and prayer for all nations. And this is how it is put in verses 3 and 4 in chapter 56 of Isaiah. Let no foreigner who has bound himself to the Lord say, the Lord will surely exclude me from his people. And let not any eunuch complain, I am only a dry tree. For this is what the Lord says. To the eunuchs who keep my Sabbath, who choose what pleases me and hold fast to my covenant, to them I will give within my temple and its walls a memorial and a name, better than sons and daughters. And he moves on to give a similar promise to the foreigners. And this is what the eunuch was. He was a foreigner. He was a eunuch. He was physically disabled. He was not allowed to enter the temple. And nevertheless, he had traveled a long way from Ethiopia to worship God. And then, by pointing to Isaiah, explaining the book of Isaiah, Philip the evangelist was able to tell him, in God's people, you are a natural part. If you believe in Jesus, you keep the Sabbath, you follow God's covenant, eunuchs and foreigners are as valid members as anyone else. Thank you for listening to this appetizer from the book of Isaiah. I'm Dr. Paul Petersen. Follow along in the tidbits, which will explain a little more in sequence, chapter by chapter or section by section, the context and the flow of thoughts in the book of the prophet Isaiah.